You are The Deep Dive, a podcast presented by Vivid Voices Media. And that's what I mean. It's the sheer audacity of it. I'm standing in my kitchen, right? The coffee hasn't even properly hit my bloodstream yet. I've still got crust in the corner of my eye, and I'm being psychoanalyzed by a 15-second clip.
And it's always set to a sped-up pop song.
Always. A sped-up Doja Cat song.
Yeah.
And the video is just this person, probably 19 years old, pointing at floating text bubbles. They're not even speaking.
Oh, yeah, the pointing. It's a whole genre.
They're just pointing. And the text says, do you hate small talk? Do you have a pile of laundry on the chair in your bedroom?
Ah, the laundry chair.
The laundry chair. And do you sometimes zone out while driving?
Yeah.
And then, bam, the final caption drops like a gavel in a courtroom. You might be dissociating due to unresolved childhood trauma.
The laundry chair diagnosis. It's a classic of the form, really.
But that's the thing. I have a laundry chair. You have a laundry chair. I'm pretty sure everyone listening has a laundry chair. It's a universal human experience to be too lazy to hang up a shirt sometime.
It's part of the human condition.
Right. But for a split second, and this is what genuinely scared me, I froze. I just stood there holding my mug, and I actually thought, wait a minute. Is my messy bedroom a cry for help from my inner child?
Mm.
And then I just got angry.
Mm.
Because since when did an algorithm know more about my trauma than I do?
And that anger is so valid. But, that freeze response, that's also completely valid.
It just felt, I don't know, invasive. It felt like the phone was looking back at me.
It is looking back at you, in a way. That's what we need to talk about. This whole thing, we've been calling it the therapy industrial complex for a reason.
A good name for it.
And your reaction, that split second of, wait, is this me? That is exactly what the entire system is designed to trigger.
So it's working as intended. Great.
It is. But I do want to push back just gently on the total dismissal of it. Because, yes, from where you're standing, it is completely absurd.
It's ridiculous.
Diagnosing a complex disorder based on your furniture habits is, well, it's effectively a horoscope with a medical degree printed off the internet. But for so many people that, for you, Paige, the FYP, it's the first time they've ever felt seen. It can act like this strange kind of digital mirror.
A funhouse mirror, surely.
Yep.
It distorts everything it reflects.
Sometimes, yeah. It definitely can. But we have to think about the context of the user. We're not just talking about people who are bored and scrolling. We're living in let's be honest, a fundamentally broken healthcare system.
Oh, fundamentally. No question.
So if you, right now, try to book a therapist, especially in the U.S. or the U.K., just walk me through that process. What actually happens?
Okay. You Google therapists in your area.
Uh-huh.
You find a list. You call a number. It goes to voicemail. You leave a message. You might get a call back 3 days later, if you're lucky. And they'll tell you they aren't taking new patients. Or, the classic, their next opening is in 6 months.
6 months. And what if you actually get in? What's the cost?
You're paying out of pocket, most likely.
Yeah.
So, what are we talking? $200, $300 an hour? More.
Or way more in some places. We were looking at data showing intake sessions, just the first meeting, costing upwards of $460 in major cities.
$460. Just to say hello?
Just to start. So paint that picture right there. You have millions of people who are anxious, who are lonely, who are broke, and who feel like the world is just, crumbling around them.
And the door to actual help is locked.
It's locked. And the entry fee is astronomical. So where do they go? They go to the place that's free, that's accessible 24/7, that doesn't require insurance.
And that promises to explain why they feel this way in under 60 seconds.
Exactly. They go to TikTok.
Okay. I see the utility. I get it. It's the poor man's psychiatrist. But the cost. It feels like there's a hidden cost.
There is.
We aren't just talking about bad advice, like telling someone to put toothpaste on a pimple. This feels like a fundamental shift in how we understand our own minds. I was looking at that PlushCare data we pulled for this deep dive, and the numbers are genuinely staggering.
They're pretty shocking.
This is the statistic that made me want to just throw my phone in a river. 83.7% of mental health advice on TikTok is misleading.
83%.
And on top of that, 14.2% is potentially damaging, actively harmful.
That is a terrifying number when you just think about the sheer scale of consumption. Billions of views.
It's not just drink more water. It's people saying stop taking your meds or you don't need your doctor. It's people treating serious psychiatric conditions with, hacks they saw online.
And that's really our mission for this deep dive, isn't it? We have to look past the funny videos and the pointing. We're talking about the commodification of the human psyche.
Right. We're going to look at that girl aesthetic, this whole rise of self-diagnosis, and this really dangerous, unregulated world of healing where your trauma is just another form of currency.
But to do that, you're saying we have to respect the machine. We have to understand why it works so well.
You have to. Otherwise, we're just yelling at clouds.
Okay, so let's unpack the machine. Because I refuse to believe my phone is actually listening to my therapy sessions. I know that's the big conspiracy theory.
The microphone is always on.
Yeah, but the reality is actually way more sophisticated and maybe even creepier, isn't it?
It's so much more sophisticated. It doesn't have to listen. It just has to watch what you watch.
Isn't that comforting?
And it watches with a level of precision, of data crunching power, that a human therapist could never, ever match. It's pure data.
So let's go back to that digital waiting room idea.
Okay, so let's look at that. There was this fascinating study out of Ho Chi Minh City that looked specifically at Gen Z users. It analyzed how the recommendation algorithms impact their perceived mental well-being. And what did they find?
They found something that just completely destroys the idea that the algorithm gives you what's good for you. The algorithm doesn't prioritize truth. It doesn't prioritize your health. It prioritizes one thing above all else.
Clicks. Engagement.
Arousal.
Whoa, okay, settle down. Arousal.
Not only sexual arousal, physiological and emotional arousal. High-intensity emotion. Think of the algorithm as a heat-seeking missile for engagement.
Go ahead.
It learns your anxieties. So let's say you linger for 3 extra seconds on a video about feeling nervous. The system doesn't say, oh, here's a calm, nuanced lecture on the parasympathetic nervous system from a licensed neurologist.
Except that would be boring. I'd scroll right past that. My brain is trained to want the quick hit.
Exactly, you'd scroll. So instead, this algorithm says, oh, you like anxiety, you engage with that content. Here's a video about panic disorder. Here's a video about complex PTSD. And here's one about narcissistic abuse. It escalates. It feeds you more extreme content because extreme content keeps you watching.
It creates an anxiety loop.
It's an anxiety loop. It's incentivized to make you feel something. Fear, anger, even just the shock of recognition.
So it's actively incentivized to make me freak out.
It's incentivized to keep your eyeballs glued to that screen. And fear, validation, and recognition are the highest, most potent forms of engagement, which is where we see the Barnum effect get completely weaponized.
The Barnum effect. That's the horoscope thing, right? P.T. Barnum, a sucker born every minute.
Something for everyone. It's that psychological phenomenon where individuals believe that very generic personality descriptions apply specifically and uniquely to them.
Like when a fortune cookie feels weirdly personal.
Exactly. But on TikTok, this has been refined into a dark art form. You take a vague, totally universal symptom like feeling tired or hating small talk or feeling awkward at parties.
All things that apply to basically every human on Earth at some point.
Of course. And you reframe it. You strip away the context of just being a person, and you replace it with a specific and very serious diagnostic criterion.
So, do you hate small talk? Becomes what?
That's not a personality trait. That's a symptom of autism. Or do you procrastinate doing the dishes?
Which I'm currently doing.
That's not laziness. That's ADHD paralysis.
And because I procrastinate, because literally everyone procrastinates, I go, oh my God, that's me. That explains everything.
And you hit like, you share it with a friend, you go to the comments and see 1,000 other people saying, this is so me. And the algorithm says, got him? It has successfully categorized you. Now it can sell you things based on that shiny new category.
It's brilliant in a really sinister, dystopian, Black Mirror kind of way. But here's the part I still struggle with. Why do we trust it so much? If a guy in a lab coat told me my laundry chair means I have a dissociative disorder, I'd ask to see his degree. I'd be skeptical.
You'd want to see the paperwork.
Yeah. But if a 19-year-old with a perfect ring light and a sunset lamp says it, a part of my brain just listens. Why is the barrier to entry for truth so ridiculously low?
That's the trust gap. And this is where the visuals, the whole aesthetic of the platform really matter. Close your eyes for a second. Imagine a video from a doctor or a hospital. What does it look like?
Okay. Bad lighting. Fluorescent overheads. Probably a messy bookshelf in the background with thick, boring textbooks.
Definitely.
The audio is probably echoey because they're in an office with tile floors, and the person is talking at me. It's a lecture.
It's the talking head format. It's stiff. It uses medical jargon. It feels authoritative, but it's cold. It feels like school.
It feels like I'm about to get bad news.
Right. Now imagine the influencer video.
Okay. Sunset lamp in the corner. Soft, warm LED lighting. They're probably sitting in their bedroom, maybe in their car. They're holding the microphone really close to their mouth, maybe doing that ASMR whisper thing.
Mm.
And the camera angle is intimate. It's low. It feels like you're FaceTiming a friend who's about to tell you a secret.
Exactly. And they use what's called lived experience narratives. They use the watch as I do this format. They're not citing a study from a medical journal. They are crying in their car. They are filming themselves having a panic attack in real time.
Which feels, I'm sorry, it just feels so performative to me. If I'm actually having a panic attack, the absolute last thing on my mind is, let me just set up the tripod and get the lighting right.
To you, the cynic, it feels performative. And maybe sometimes it is, but to a teenager feeling completely alone in their bedroom, it feels authentic, it feels raw.
So it's about relatability.
It's what we call effective branding. They aren't selling a diagnosis. They are selling a feeling. They are selling the relief of recognition. Seeing someone else struggle, even if it is a performance, makes you feel less alone. A doctor offers you a treatment plan. The influencer offers you a friend.
Okay, I get that. I really do. Being a teenager is a nightmare. I remember feeling like a complete alien, but it still feels like emotional cosplay. It feels like they're putting on the costume of mental illness because it's the trend of the week.
That's a very cynical take.
Well, yeah, I'm checking the boxes for clout. It feels like it devalues real suffering.
See, I think it's a double-edged sword. On one hand, you're not entirely wrong. It can be exploitative. On the other hand, it has destigmatized suffering in a huge way. We're talking about mental health more than we ever have before. That's a good thing.
That part is good, yes.
But the downside is that it turns suffering into content. And once suffering becomes content, it has to perform. It has to be aesthetic. It has to fit the algorithm's rules.
Speaking of fitting the aesthetic,
Yeah.
we have to pivot. We have to talk about the other side of this coin.
Yeah.
Because if one half of TikTok is, I'm broken and here's why, the other half is the supposed solution.
The cure.
The I am perfect and here's how much it cost.
Mm,
Con side.
that girl.
The clean girl, the it
Yeah.
girl, this whole aesthetic of procedural femininity. I feel like I cannot escape this content. It's everywhere.
Describe it. For someone who might have a blessed clean algorithm, what does a that girl video actually look like?
Okay, it's a montage. It's always a montage with fast cuts. It always starts at 5 a.m. Always. We see a perfectly manicured hand hitting an alarm clock.
Never a snooze button.
Never. Then the bed is made instantly. Crisp white sheets, no wrinkles. Then we see the matching gym set. It's always matching, usually beige or sage green.
The color palette is very important.
Very muted. Then the green juice being poured into a pristine mason jar. The ice cubes clinking. It's weirdly satisfying to watch, I'll admit.
It's hypnotic. It's ASMR for your anxiety.
It is. And then there's the journaling with a fancy pen. And then the 10-step skincare routine. It's this whole ritual.
And the message underneath it all is what?
The message is, my life is under control. My mind is clear because my counter is clean. My skin is clear because my soul is clear. It's tying external tidiness to internal peace.
There was a source we looked at that analyzed this whole trend specifically through the lens of one object, the gua sha tool. You know what I'm talking about.
The little polished rock thing you scrape your face with to like drain your lymph nodes or whatever.
Yeah. Essentially, yes. It's a tool from traditional Chinese medicine. But on TikTok, it's been completely stripped of that cultural context and repurposed into something else.
A status symbol.
Exactly. The analysis points out that in these videos, the gua sha isn't just skincare. It signifies regimented cosmetic devotion. It implies that beauty is something you earn through labor. You have to wake up, do the ice roller, do the gua sha, do the Pilates, drink the collagen. Beauty is a job.
It's the neoliberal trap. That's the term that jumped out at me from the reading. That just hit the nail on the head.
It really is. It's the myth of buyability equals attainability. The narrative is never, I was born with good genes and my parents are rich.
No. The narrative is you are a mess. Your life is chaos. But if you buy this specific moleskin journal and these specific Lululemon leggings and this specific $40 mushroom powder, you too can achieve emotional stability.
And that ties directly into this idea of productivity equilibrium. Can we break that down? Because it sounds like a corporate buzzword, but the meaning is actually pretty dark.
It sounds like something from a bad PowerPoint presentation.
It does, but it's insidious. Traditionally, practices like meditation or yoga were about being. They were about stopping. They were about existing outside of the capitalist grind for a few minutes.
About finding some quiet.
Right, but productivity equilibrium completely flips that. It turns mindfulness into an instrumental mechanism.
In plain English, what does that mean?
It means you don't meditate to find enlightenment or peace. You meditate so you can focus better at your job. You don't do yoga to connect with your body. You do yoga so you have more energy to be a productive worker.
So it's capitalism co-opting self-care.
It's capitalism disguised as self-care. It's about cleaning up the inherent messiness of being human so you can be a better, more efficient cog in the machine.
Wow. That is profoundly depressing. It's basically saying, fix yourself, not so you can be happy, but so you can work harder.
It's performative wellness. But, and I'm going to be vulnerable here for a second because I know I'm playing the role of the analytical expert here, but
Yeah.
I watch these videos.
You, the expert, the one who sees through the matrix. You're watching the beige ladies make their beige smoothies.
I do, usually at 2 in the morning when I can't sleep. And I'm lying there, feeling gross. My hair's in a messy bun. I've probably got drool on my pillow.
We've all been there.
And I'm watching this girl in her pristine, minimalist apartment making a smoothie that perfectly matches her walls.
And what's the feeling you get? Is it inspiring? Are you taking notes for your morning routine?
No, God, no. I don't feel inspired at all. I feel the gap.
The gap.
The huge, unbridgeable gap between my actual messy, gruel-covered life and the perfection on the screen. The research calls it the makeover paradigm. The video invents a problem, you aren't glowing enough, your routine isn't optimized, just so it can sell you the solution. And in that moment, at 2 a.m., I just feel like I'm failing at being a human.
Wow.
Like, why isn't my life beige and organized? Why do I still have a laundry chair?
See, the laundry chair comes back. It haunts
yeah.
all of us. It's the great equalizer.
It does. But that's the insidious part of it. It makes you feel like the natural chaos of life, which is totally normal and inevitable, is a personal failure. It frames the act of living as a management problem that you just haven't bought the right planner to solve yet.
And in doing so, it creates a lack, a hole in your soul that can be conveniently filled with an Amazon affiliate link.
Precisely.
But this brings us to the darker, dirtier side of this whole coin, because that girl is all about perfection. But what happens when you can't be perfect? What happens when you're actually genuinely struggling, or you're broke, or you're just sad?
You can't do the clean girl thing.
No. So you pivot, you go to the sad girl aesthetic.
And now we have to talk about the commodification of trauma. This is where we shift from clean girl to depression core.
Depression core. The fact that that is a real term makes my skin crawl. It sounds like a subgenre of heavy metal, but it's really just teenagers crying in oversized hoodies.
It's the trend of using psychiatric diagnoses as aesthetic signifiers. It's the oversized hoodie with the mental health slogan. It's the crying selfie, the perfectly smudged mascara.
I saw a video. It was described in our notes, and I actually went and found it, which was a huge mistake because it made me furious.
Oh, no.
It's an influencer, right? Staring into the camera, looking absolutely devastated.
Mm-hmm.
And the text on the screen is narrating their childhood trauma. And, I mean, heavy stuff. Abuse, neglect, real palpable pain.
Okay.
And in the same breath, I mean, literally in the same 60-second clip, they pivot. The text says, and that's why I need a safe space to work. And then boom, an affiliate link for an ergonomic desk chair.
My trauma hurts, but my back doesn't have to.
It's dystopian. It is the ultimate cynicism. Monetizing your own pain is nothing private anymore. How do you record that, edit it, add captions, and then link a product without feeling like an absolute monster?
This is effective branding at its most extreme. The influencer is the brand. And in a crowded marketplace, what makes you unique? Your trauma. Your trauma becomes your USP, your unique selling point.
That's horrifying.
But it goes deeper than just selling chairs. It creates this whole phenomenon of trauma dumping.
Right. Explain that for the listener who hasn't had the distinct pleasure of a complete stranger unloading their entire life story in a comment section.
Trauma dumping is the non-consensual sharing of traumatic information. It's not the same as venting to a friend who has agreed to listen. It's going into the comment section of a creator you don't know, or making a video for an audience of total strangers, and just unloading your darkest secrets without any warning.
And you do it because you feel like you know them.
Right. It's the parasocial problem. Viewers feel they have a real relationship with the creator. They think this person gets it. They cried on camera, so they understand my pain. So they dump their own trauma, expecting this creator, who is often just a kid with a camera, or maybe a life coach with no license, to hold that space for them.
And the creator can't do that. They're not a therapist. They're a content creator trying to hit their engagement metrics for the week.
Or even worse, the creator encourages it because it drives engagement. More comments, more trauma, more of a boost from the algorithm. It's this vicious cycle of shared pain that just goes nowhere. It's a feedback loop of misery.
And this leads directly to the massive rise in self-diagnosis. We mentioned the Barnum effect, but let's just look at the raw numbers. 11.4 billion views on the hashtag ADHD.
Billion, with a B.
11.4 billion.
And it's not just ADHD. We're seeing this documented rise of self-diagnosed Tourette's. This is a real medical phenomenon that's been documented since the pandemic started. There were these clusters of adolescent girls who started developing tics, physical, verbal tics, after watching TikTok content.
TikTok. I hate that that's a pun.
It is, but it's incredibly serious. It's a form of social contagion, mass psychogenic illness, but spread via an algorithm.
And dissociative identity disorder did. That used to be incredibly rare, like movie plot rare. Now there are entire communities of systems on TikTok, people introducing all their alters in these 15-second intro videos.
Hi, I'm the host. This is the protector. This is the little...
Yeah.
The real issue here, I think, is the shift in language. It's a move from I have anxiety to I am an anxious person. The diagnosis becomes the entire identity.
It becomes a shield.
Or a community badge. I'm part of the ADHD squad. I'm part of the DAD system community. It gives you a tribe.
It's like a horoscope again. I'm a Leo, so that's why I'm loud. I have ADHD, so that's why I can't do the dishes. It becomes this permission slip to not function in the world.
That's the cynic talking again. But look, it also validates a person's struggle. If you've felt broken your whole life and you've never had the words for it, finding a label feels like finding a home.
I see that, but the danger is misdiagnosis.
Right. The danger is huge. If you decide you have ADHD because of TikTok and you start self-treating, maybe you're taking supplements you saw an ad, or you're hunting for stimulants, or you just resign yourself to the idea that this is just how my broken brain works, you might be missing the actual issue entirely.
Right. Maybe you don't have ADHD. Maybe you're just chronically sleep deprived. Maybe you're depressed. Maybe you're just completely overstimulated because you spend 6 hours a day watching TikToks.
Exactly. You're treating the symptom of modern life, and you're calling it a lifelong disorder.
It's Munchausen by internet. I'm sorry, but that's what it feels like. It's performing illness for clout. It's wanting to be sick, because being sick makes you feel interesting.
See, I think that's too harsh. I think you're missing the desperation behind it.
How am I missing that?
I think it's a desperate attempt to find language for suffering. Let's be real. The medical system has ignored women, people of color, and neurodivergent people for decades. If a doctor won't listen to you, if they dismiss your pain as hysteria or it's just stress, but a TikTok video describes exactly how you feel, of course you're going to cling to that label. It's a life raft.
Even if the life raft is made of lead. Because if that label is wrong, you sink. You start treating a condition you don't have, and you ignore the one you do.
That is the risk. And that risk gets amplified tenfold when we move away from just diagnosis and into treatment. Specifically, this unregulated world of coaching and shadow work.
Shadow work. Ugh. I keep seeing this term on my feed. It sounds like something from a fantasy novel. I must do my shadow work before the moon rises.
It's originally Jungian, from Carl Jung. It's about dealing with the shadow self, all the parts of yourself you repress because they're socially unacceptable. Your rage, your jealousy, your shame. It's serious, deep, and often very painful psychological work.
But on TikTok?
On TikTok, it's a buzzword. It's a journal prompt. Write down 3 things you hate about your mother. And it's being sold and facilitated by life coaches and healers who have no license, no oversight, and no HIPAA compliance.
This is the part that actually scares me. Not that girl green juice, that's just annoying. This is actively dangerous. You have people digging into deep trauma with absolutely no safety net.
We have documented reports of re-traumatization. A coach might encourage you to feel the pain, to revisit a traumatic memory, to get what they call a cathartic release.
They want the big emotional breakthrough for the camera.
They want the tears. They want the breakthrough.
Yeah.
But if you evoke that strong of an emotional reaction, if you pull the scab off a deep wound without the clinical skills to clean it and dress it, that's not healing. That's just bleeding all over the place.
But it looks like healing because you're crying.
Exactly. The person thinks, I cried, so I must be working through it. No, you might just be reopening the wound in a really unsafe way. And listen, if a licensed therapist messes you up, you can go to the licensing board. You can sue for malpractice. If a shadow work coach on TikTok messes you up, what's your recourse?
You leave a mean comment.
And they block you, and they move on to the next client.
You know, reading through this part of the research, the shadow work, the trauma dumping, this whole bleed for the camera culture, it actually It triggers something for me. Not to use the therapy speak, but it does.
What does it trigger?
I have. Look, per my own history, I have trust issues. I'm a private person. I don't like people knowing my business. I don't post about my family. I don't post about my bad days. The idea of putting my shadow, all my dark stuff on the internet, the idea of filming myself crying and posting it for strangers to consume, that is my literal nightmare. It makes me physically recoil.
Why do you think that is? Is it just about embarrassment?
No, it's self-preservation. Because some things should be private. Because real healing is messy, and it's ugly, and it's snotty, and it shouldn't be content. It shouldn't be for public consumption. It shouldn't be sandwiched between a dance video and an ad for teeth whitening strips. It feels, I don't know, sacred almost. And the internet just makes it all profane.
I hear that. I really do. But let me ask you a question. And I want you to be honest with me.
Okay.
Is it privacy you really want? Or are you just scared of being seen?
Excuse me.
I'm asking seriously. You call it Munchausen, you call it performative, you call it profane, and sure, a lot of it is, but there's a real hunger there. People are starving to be known, to just say, this hurts, and have someone, anyone say, I know. You hide behind the cynicism, behind the privacy, behind the jokes about the laundry chair, but isn't that just another form of isolation? You're quiet.
I'm quiet because that was a low blow. Turning the therapy on the host, that's unfair.
I'm just saying. The internet forces us to perform, yes. It turns us all into brands. But hiding entirely, refusing to engage, pretending you don't have a shadow, that's not the answer either. That's just loneliness with a superiority complex.
Maybe. Maybe I am scared. Maybe I'd rather be lonely and safe than exposed and connected. But I look at what's happening out there, this endless churn of trauma into dollars, and I don't see real connection. I see exploitation. I see a machine that eats our pain and spits out ad revenue. I see vampires.
And I see people trying to survive. I see people who are drowning and they're just grabbing onto whatever piece of driftwood floats by.
So where does that leave us? Because we can't just burn down the internet. Although, God, wouldn't that be nice? Just for a weekend.
No easy answers. That's the theme of this whole deep dive, isn't it? But we have to at least acknowledge the trap we're all in.
We have to talk about the quick fix solution. The hedonic treadmill.
Right. And this brings it all back to consumerism. We buy the wellness retreat or the supplement or the online course, the masterclass on shadow work. We get that spike of happiness, that little hit of dopamine. I'm fixing myself. I'm taking control. And then what happens a week later?
You return to baseline. The fancy journal sits on the shelf. The green juice goes bad in the fridge. The sadness comes back.
And because the sadness came back, you think, I must have bought the wrong thing. I need the next thing.
And the algorithm is right there, ready and waiting with the next suggestion.
And it connects to this academic concept of healthism.
Healthism. Is that a real word? I feel like you're making that up.
It is a real word. It's the idea that health and mental health specifically is an individual moral duty. If you're sad, it's your fault. It's because you didn't journal enough. It's because you didn't manifest hard enough. It's because you have a poverty mindset.
Right. It completely ignores the fact that maybe you're sad because your rent is too high, the planet is overheating, and you work 60 hours a week at a job you hate.
Exactly. We are trying to solve massive collective problems. Loneliness, burnout, systemic inequality with individual purchases. We're trying to buy our way out of a structural crisis. We're trying to fix a metabolic rift with a skincare routine.
So my position remains. We are turning our pain into content for clicks. We need to log off. We need to stop looking for a diagnosis in a 15-second dance video. We need to touch grass, as the kids say.
And my position is, we are lonely people trying to find connection in a system that is completely broken. We need community. Real, tangible community, not just a comment section. We need to be seen, but maybe not by 1 billion people, maybe just by 1 or 2 who actually know us.
Maybe we can agree on one thing, the performance of it all. The need to broadcast the healing, the if I don't post it, it doesn't count mentality.
Yes, that I think is the core rod at the center of all of this.
There's this question that's been sticking with me since we started researching this, and maybe this is where we should leave the listener today, just to see what this is. One really uncomfortable thought.
Go ahead.
We're all trying to do the work.
Yeah.
We're all trying to be better, to heal. But here's the question. If you healed offline, if you forgave your mother, or you got over your ex, or you finally found some peace, and no one saw it, you didn't post a single quote about it, you didn't make a montage set to a sad, slow piano song, no one liked it.
If you healed in the dark.
Exactly. If you healed offline, and no one saw it,
Mm-hmm.
did it actually happen?
Yeah.
Think about it.
That's going to keep me up at 2 a.m.
You and me both. Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive.